Everyone, I call this meeting to order at 6 p.m. on August the 20th and note that all members of the committee are present except Deputy Mayor Julius Lax. Now read the Township Land Acknowledgement. The Township of Adjala-Tosorontio is situated on the lands within Treaty 18, being the traditional territory of the Anishinaabe peoples, including the Ojibwe, Odawa, and Potawatomi nations, collectively known as the Three Fires Confederacy. This land is home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit peoples. We acknowledge Indigenous peoples as stewards of the land, and we honor their resilience as well as their culture, and of our shared respect for the lands, plants, animals, and waterways, which sustains us all. We recognize the injustices against Indigenous peoples and are mindful that the decisions of government impact our shared land and all the inhabitants. We commit to reconciliation as a journey, foster Indigenous cultural awareness and educational opportunities, establish respectful and healthy relations with Indigenous peoples, continue to steward the land and its inhabitants, and to cultivate an inclusive community for all. The purpose of this evening's hearing is to consider the applications listed on the agenda requesting a consent or minor variance to the Township's zoning bylaw. The input we receive from agencies, the public, and staff is important to ensure the committee makes well-informed planning decisions. For each application listed on today's agenda, the hearing procedure will be as follows. Staff will provide a brief explanation of the application. The applicant or their agent will be asked to provide any comments. Comments from members of the public will be heard or read aloud by the Secretary-Treasurer. Following all submissions, the committee will consider all comments and agenda materials when making a decision on an application. Should you wish to be notified of the decision, you must file a written request with the Secretary-Treasurer. The first item is the adoption of today's agenda. The recommendation reads that the agenda for the Committee of Adjustment hearing held on Wednesday, August the 20th, 2025 be adopted as presented. Could I get a mover and a seconder, please? John and Julie, Ron? Any questions? All those in favor? Motion carried. Disclosure of pecuniary interest. Are there any disclosures of pecuniary interest on behalf of the committee? No, none. Thank you. The adoption of the minutes. The minutes for the Committee of Adjustment meeting July 16th, 2025 to be adopted as presented. Can I get a mover and a seconder, please? Horace and Ron, all those in favor? Carried. Thank you. We'll now move forward to the submissions for this evening. The first one, property 8102 Concession Road 3, Adjala-Tosorontio. Would staff like to provide a brief explanation of the application, please? Kartik?
Thank you, Madam Chair. The applicants are proposing modifications to their existing property, which currently consists of a single detached dwelling and a detached two-car garage. The proposal involves expanding the existing two-car garage into a three-car garage and constructing an additional residential unit above the garage. The new garage structure will be attached to the main dwelling by an enclosed breezeway. The existing garage will be integrated into the new structure. The proposed addition maintains all applicable setback, lot coverage, and height requirements for residential use within agricultural zone. Thank you.
Give us your name, please.
Matthew Dominguez.
You press on the, so the little green light is on?
Perfect. Yeah,
Thank
it's on
you.
now.
Okay.
Yeah, so what we're looking to do here, as Mr. Kartik said, we're just looking to expand and put a dwelling above the garage, really. Just with house prices and stuff like that. As my parents living in the house right now, we're looking for somewhere just to not be in a basement anymore, and we can't afford to purchase a house now in today's market. So we're just looking to expand the garage large enough and put a apartment above it. And then obviously attach it to the house to not make it look like it's a subdivision property with multiple houses on it.
Okay. Do any members of the committee have questions? Are there any members of the public present that would like to provide a comment on this application? Did we receive any written comments?
No, Madam Chair.
And any questions from members of the committee on this application? No?
I
Yeah.
I have one question for Kartik. Everything meets our planning standards and qualifications as far as you're concerned?
Through Madam Chair, yes, it meets all the standards like ground coverage, setback, and height requirements. Thank you.
Okay, we move on to a decision for application A/18/25. I will read the decision for committee consideration. In the matter of subsection 45(1) of the Planning Act, and in the matter of concession 2, part lot 27, RP 51R17102, part 1, in the township of Adjala-Tosorontio, county of Simcoe, and in the matter of the application of Jose and Teresa Dominguez as owners of the aforesaid land for minor variance under the Planning Act. And whereas the township of Adjala-Tosorontio's Committee of Adjustment, having conferred with all applicable agencies and persons as prescribed by the Planning Act, and having had regard to those matters prescribed in the Planning Act, has decided that the request for an attached additional residential unit on the subject property, where zoning bylaw 03-57 permits only one single detached dwelling on the lot B. And can I have a mover and seconder, please, for approval of this application? John, Ron, thank you. Are there a seconder? That was our seconder. Thank you. Any questions? No? All those in favor? Motion is carried. Okay, we'll move on to the next application. A/19/25. The property is at 3030 and 3122 Concession Road 3, Adjala-Tosorontio. Can we have a description of that application, please? Kartik.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The applicant has proposed a boundary line adjustment, which is to be addressed further in this agenda, and as a result of that adjustment, the lot area deficiencies are created, requiring relief through minor variance application. For the agricultural parcel at 3030 Concession Road 3, the proposal would permit a reduced lot area of 26.77 hectares, where bylaw requires 36 hectares. The lot area would decrease from existing size of 27.5 to 26.7, while continuing to meet all other zoning requirements. For residential parcel at 3122 Concession Road 3, the proposal would permit an increased lot area of 9.55 hectares, where bylaw permits a maximum of 1 hectare. The lot area would increase from existing 8.81 to 9.55 hectares, with the property also maintaining compliance with all the other zoning requirements. Thank you.
Are there applicant or agent like to provide any comments on this application? Sir?
Through the MCAP program, we returned these areas to natural vegetation over a number of years. So after acquiring the property, we subdivided it into 4 parcels. Original farmhouse for 2 acres, a residential lot in the south for 90 acres, and a 22-acre residential lot in the north for our son, who built a residence. 2 years ago, he sold it to the current owners who are present here today. So we retained in the end 68 acres in which we built our residence, where we've lived full-time since 2004. The property, which is zoned rural, is not suitable for farming as it has too many steep ravines and rolling terrain. On the only 5-acre plateau, we planted 6,700 grapevines for wine production in 2018. For various reasons, the only ones that have sustained any growth are hybrid varieties for which there's very limited market. Therefore, for wine production, we relied on importing grapes from the Niagara benches for processing in our accessory building. So the application is for a lot line adjustment to resolve an encroachment of approximately 2 acres to be added to our northern neighbor's property, which was our former son's property, for their residential use. This elevated area is near our tennis court and is unused, except for the tennis court, and is about 1,000 feet from the township road. So there's no visibility to any of our neighbors. The change does not affect anything. It is not fenced. So we'd appreciate your consent and approval of this application.
Are there any members of the public who would like to make a statement? Did we have any written comments?
No written comments were received, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Do we have any questions from the members of the committee? Yes.
Mine is just question with this here. It says 3120. Is that your home? That is the adjacent property. Oh, okay, so 3120. The required your son's property? You want add this area to that property.
You want to say it? Okay, yes.
Oh, through you, Madam Chair. I was
Yes.
just going to say, it's too bad about the. There. Yeah, I can imagine.
That's good to hear.
That's good
Yeah, that's right. All right, we'll now move on to a decision for application A/19/25, and I will read the decision for committee's consideration. In the matter of subsection 45(1) of the Planning Act, and in the matter of Adjala Concession 2, Part Lot 17 and 18 RP 51R 31617 Part 8 PT, Parts 2, 4, and 9 RP 51R, I'm sorry, there's a lot of numbers here, 51R 34758, and Part 1 and Adjala Concession 2, East Part Lots 17 and 18 RP 51R3 1617 Part 3 in the Township of Adjala-Tosorontio, County of Simcoe. And in the matter of the application of Maryland Field as owners of the aforesaid land for minor variance under the Planning Act. And whereas the Township of Adjala-Tosorontio's Committee of Adjustment, having conferred with all applicable agencies and persons as prescribed by the Planning Act, and having had regard to those matters prescribed in the Planning Act, has decided that the request for an agricultural lot of 26.77 hectares at 3030 Concession Road 3, whereas zoning bylaw 03-57 requires a minimum of 36 hectares, and a residential lot of 9.55 hectares at 3122 Concession Road 3, whereas the bylaw permits a maximum of 1 hectare, be, and can I get a mover and seconder for approval? John and Horace, all those in favor? Motion is carried. The next submission, property 4911, Concession Road 7, Adjala-Tosorontio. We'll now move on to that application, and Kartik, would you provide us a brief explanation of that, please?
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is the same application that we talked about right now. It's the boundary line adjustment is regarding the owner of 3122 Concession Road 3 has developed a recreational putting green and a golf driving range hole for the personal use. And we just approved the minor variance for that application. This is for the boundary line adjustment.
I'm
Thank
sorry,
you.
did I miss one? 5.3, oh, we've gone to 5, we've skipped 5.3.
Yeah.
Oh, all right, I'm sorry, we're doing them in a different order, fine, okay, that's fine. Yes, sorry. So that was permit a boundary line adjustment involving the properties municipally known as 3030 to 3122. We already had,
We can make this evening.
yes,
Then we can go back to 5.
all right, that's fine, thank you. Did we have any other comments from the public? This is part of this other application? The same,
Yeah.
yes, yeah. So a decision for application A/12/25 in the matter of subsection 53 of the Planning Act and in the matter of Adjala Concession 2, Part Lots 17 and 18 RP 51R 31617, Part 8, Parts 2, 4, and 9 RP 51R 34758, Part 1, County of Simcoe. And in the matter of the application of Maryland Field as owner of the aforesaid land for consent under the Planning Act, and whereas the Township of Adjala-Tosorontio's Committee of Adjustment, having conferred with all applicable agencies and persons as prescribed by the Planning Act, and having had regard to those matters prescribed in the Planning Act, has decided that the request for a boundary adjustment involving the transfer of approximately 0.74 hectares of land from 3030 Concession Road 3 to 3122 Concession Road 3B. And can I get a mover and seconder, please, for approval? Ron and John, all those in favor? Motion carried. Thank you. Now we're going back to 5.3. Thank you. The property at 4911 Concession Road 7 to permit the creation of an easement for the installation and maintenance of communication cables for Bell Canada on the subject property. And Kartik, would you please give us a brief explanation?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Application has been submitted to create an easement for Bell Canada to install and maintain communication cables. The easement will be approximately 80.19 meters in length along Concession Road 7 on the southwest portion of the subject property, covering an area of approximately 0.061 hectares. Thank you.
Thank you. The applicant or agent like to provide any comments on the application? Did we have any members of the public or written comments submitted?
No comments were received, ma'am.
Right. Are there any questions from members of the committee? So we'll now move on to a decision for application B/11/25. Prior to conducting the vote, I'll read the decision for committee consideration in the matter of subsection 53 of the Planning Act. And in the matter of concession 7, West Part Lot 1, RP 51 R15239, Part 1 in the Township of Adjala-Tosorontio, County of Simcoe. And in the matter of the application of KTL Group of Companies as owners of the aforesaid land for consent under the Planning Act. And whereas the Township of Adjala-Tosorontio's Committee of Adjustment, having conferred with all applicable agencies and persons as prescribed by the Planning Act, and having had regard to those matters prescribed in the Planning Act, has decided that the request for the creation of an easement for the installation and maintenance of communication cables for Bell Canada on the subject property be, and can I have a mover and seconder for approval? John and Horace, all those in favor? Motion is carried. Thank you. And we're finished with the 5.4. Yeah, okay, so we're going on to deferred applications. Thank you. The next application is item 6.1 B/01/23. The properties at 8292 and 838, the 20th Side Road, Adjala, and PIN 58184-0138 Adjala-Tosorontio to permit a boundary line adjustment involving the properties municipally known as 8386 and 8292, the 20th Side Road. Kartik, would you please give us a description?
Thank you, Madam Chair. The applications were first reviewed by Committee of Adjustment on March 15, 2023, and the deferred pending NVCA comments regarding natural hazards. A resubmission was made in May 2025. As the deferral period had expired, the applications were recirculated to meet notice requirements and reflect updating planning policies. NVCA's concerns have been addressed in the new submission. The consent application proposed 2 boundary adjustments, involves 8386, 8292 20th Side Road, and PIN 58184-0138. With first application B0123, 8386 and 8292 20th Side Road will be consolidated into one consolidated agricultural parcel with 0.85 hectare residential lot relocated to the northwest corner of 20th Side Road and Concession Road 5. With the second application B0223, PIN 58184-0138 will be adjusted along the enlarged 8386 20th Side Road parcel from the first adjustment, relocating a second 0.84 hectare residential lot adjoining the first residential lot. Thank you.
Would the applicant or agent like to provide any comments?
Good evening, Madam Chair. My name is Jamie Robinson. I'm the planning consultant, a partner and a planner with MHBC Planning. I'm just here. We fully support the recommendation of staff to approve this application. We were here a number of months ago and have gone back and done the technical work that was asked of this committee. They hired Tatham Engineering. They did a fulsome engineering review and have spent a considerable amount of money getting here to this point. And we're grateful for the recommendation from staff. And if there's any questions from the committee, I'd be happy to answer those. Thank you.
Do you have any questions from anyone, members?
My understanding of the whole process is that we're eliminating the 5-acre property on west half of.
Yep.
And we're going to sterilize one, because one is not sterilized.
Correct. Yes.
2 is sterilized, farm part of it's
Currently, correct.
and we're going to be free to join these properties. 1 and 2 will be sterilized.
Correct.
Only concern I have is the corner at 5 Side Road, or at the 5th line and 20 Side Road. That corner is very, very wet, and where you're showing the 2 lots lined in there, one lot, one closest to the road. I don't think we can allow to build on that, because in the spring of the year, that thing doesn't dry up until. Anyways, that's precisely what.
Through you, Madam Chair, to the member, that is what's happening. It's a reconfiguration of the lot pattern in the area, so no new dwellings are being created, and ultimately more lands are being sterilized from residential development. On the screen right now is a zoom in of that area that you spoke about at the Concession Road 5 and the 20th Side Road. This is the area that was the focus of the review completed by Tatham Engineering. And this was to deal with the NVCA concerns related to flooding. And what this illustrates is that the blue area, the green and the blue are the outlines of the proposed 2 lots. And then the lightly shaded blue is the area that is subject to flooding. based on the modeling that Tatham Engineering completed. And it does identify that there is a building envelope and a septic envelope. So having reviewed that material and that information, so NBCA had their engineers do a review of that material, and they were satisfied following that review that the technical work was appropriately addressed and that there is a suitable building envelope on both reconfigured lot 2 and reconfigured lot 1. And that's the basis then that the staff recommended approval for the application. So there is a building envelope outside of that flooded land and sufficient space for a septic system.
And the new lots are 0.84 of a hectare and 0.85 of a hectare?
Yes, so just around 2 acres.
For you, Madam Chair, then with the septic bed on lot 1, was that the one with the triangle then?
Correct, yes.
Okay, so they would have to pump from the house up to that area. It'd be like a raised bed?
Depending on grades, yes, there could have to be that, yes.
Okay. That'd have to be approved by the township before any planning and.
And it's within the permitting area of the NVCA as well, so they would need a permit from them. But that was, the recommendation was to go back, understand, this committee had concerns on whether there was a building envelope there. We took that information back. Engineers for the NVCA and for Tatham Engineering looked at it, determined there was a building envelope based on these restrictions. So then there would be zoning put in place as the condition, because there's a condition of rezoning associated with this, would be put in place to detail and delineate those building envelopes on the site.
Thank you.
That's it, Chair. So basically, you're gonna have 2-acre lots on the, and you're going to eliminate 5-acre parcel.
Correct, that's correct. If you maybe just want to go up one slide, this might help you out too. You're good. There's just these maps illustrate the productivity of the agricultural lands in the area, and effectively the lowest, maybe just go back to that previous slide you were just on. There, right there. What these maps illustrate is the red is the least productive agricultural lands. So the least productive agricultural lands are where these 2 new lots are being proposed, whereas where that 5-acre parcel is on the west side, that's very highly productive agricultural land. So that can be brought back into production. So that's what this application is about. It's making most efficient use of the best land.
As long as the septic and the water, like well water for the properties adequate, I see a problem.
That we had some conditions on that. I think that one of the conditions that has to be met.
Through Madam Chair, that was the initial reason why it was deferred in 2023. So for that purpose, they hired Tatham Engineering to satisfy the NVCA comments, and NVCA is now okay with the current proposal of the building envelope and septic location. And it will be addressed again at building permit stage. Yeah. Thank you.
With the 2,
Through Madam Chair, yes, they were notified initially in 2023 also, and during the recirculation, they were notified again.
So we'll now move on to a decision for application B/02/23. I'll read the decision for committee consideration in the matter of subsection 53 of the Planning Act, in the matter of Adjala Concession 4, Part Lot 21, and RP 51 R24911, Part 1, and EIN 581 5184-0138, County of Simcoe. And in the matter of the application of H.J. Vanderzag as owner of the aforesaid land for consent under the Planning Act. And whereas the Township of Adjala-Tosorontio's Committee of Adjustment, having conferred with all applicable agencies and persons as prescribed by the Planning Act, and having had regard to those matters prescribed in the Planning Act, has decided that the request for a boundary line adjustment between PIN 58184-0138 and 8386, the 20th Side Road, further adjustment to 8386 proposed under B-01-23B. And do I have a mover and seconder for approval? Horace and John, all in favor? Carried. Thank you. And we have 2.
Second.
I'm sorry? Yes. All right. Can you please say this is the second part of the first application? Did we have any comments or members of the public to comment? Questions from the members of the committee? No, thank you. Decision for application B/02/23. I'll read the decision for the committee consideration. In the matter of subsection 53 of the Planning Act, and in the matter of Adjala Concession 4, Part Lot 21, and RP 51 R24911, Part 1, and PIN 58184-0138, County of Simcoe. And in the matter of the application of H.J. Vanderzag as owner of the aforesaid land for consent under the Planning Act. And whereas the Township of Adjala-Tosorontio's Committee of Adjustment, having conferred with all applicable agencies and persons as prescribed by the Planning Act, and having had regard to those matters prescribed in the Planning Act, has decided that the request for a boundary line adjustment between PIN 58184-0138 and 8386 20th Side Road B. And do I have a mover and a seconder for approval? Ron, Horace, thank you. All those in favor? Motion is carried. Thank you. Thank you very much. We have no new. All right. So I have a motion to adjourn at 6:33 p.m. Thank you.